Hello friends, thank you for joining me. My name is Callie, also known as Calico, captain of the DreadNaughty. I make synthetic dreadlocks, braids, hair accessories, and extensions. And I just wanted to make a little update video. It's been a while and I wanted to address some frequently asked questions and go over some things that are new. So most of this information can be found along with helpful links and things on our website, which is DreadNaughtyHair.com. We've got a nice FAQ over there, but I will go ahead and touch on some of those points and elaborate on them, and also go through some questions I've been asked recently that I haven't updated here on the site. So, of course, I get asked all the time if I do installs myself or if I have any affiliates who do installs at a salon, and I currently do not. After COVID, a lot of people, of course, were no longer in a physical location. And I haven't really been able to keep track of anybody in the local area who does them, nor do I know anything that's happening anywhere else in the world, basically, at any given time. So there's lots of great groups on Facebook that are dedicated towards getting people in touch with installers, and I would definitely check that out if you're interested in getting some help putting your dreads in. If you are interested in self-installs, there's great videos on YouTube. We've got links there on that website about how to do that. I do not have videos made myself, but there's lots of much more articulate and talented people out there who can help you through that. So in that vein, what's the difference between the different formats? What does double and single-ended mean? So the answer I usually give is that double-ended is a really great format if you're going to be self-installing. It tends to go faster, of course, because you're getting twice as much done at one time. And tends to be easier for that reason, because it does get a little bit fatiguing to be working with your hands in that kind of elevated position. So single-ended has some advantages as far as most people will attest that they lay flatter or more evenly spaced, or you can use smaller sections, so they're great for that reason. And a growing number of people actually are preferring to do a mix of them, and will order them as such. You're welcome to do so through any of the custom listings. Just specify how many you would like of each or what proportion. And it's very common to do the double-ended all along the base of the skull and along the neck, and then save some single-ended for the crown area on top so that you get the advantages of both. We also do offer the crochet extenders, which are used to add length to baby dreads to people who are starting their dreadlock journey naturally but want to have more full-looking dreads right off the bat while they're going through the stages of early establishment of the dreads. So extenders come with loose hair on the top, which you more than likely than not will need some assistance with to put in and make sure they're good and secure. But those are permanently attached, or semi-permanently. They're easy to cut out should you want to phase them out as your natural hair grows out, but you need to use a crochet hook in a more felting type of motion, and it's a little bit time-consuming, but that can be very gratifying, especially if you're looking to add a pop of color or utilize some of the great qualities of the synthetic fiber to enhance your enjoyment of the natural process. So we offer all three of those formats, and we no longer offer full wigs. That's not a thing I really do anymore, but we have different clip-on options as well. There's a separate listing for it as an upgrade, or there are listings for ones that have the weft clips built in, and those are extremely easy to use. They just snap open and snap closed. And this is the closure also that we use on our braid products. One of our best sellers right now is the Jedi style Anakin braids that add a little braid tail. Great for kids' costumes and for conventions and things like that. So a very easy closure option. All kinds of customizations available for that. And one thing that people like to do is get a set of the clip-ins to change out some colors, or do something like the fishtail braids, or something you don't want to leave in necessarily all the time or sleep on, so that they can be quickly and easily removed in addition to a full install. Let's see. Washing. You're just going to have to watch a video about exactly how to do this because I'm not going to demonstrate it here. But basically, you're going to shower as normal and wash your hair as normal, except for you're going to want to use a shampoo that is free of residue, basically a clear or clarifying shampoo. So things that are kind of heavy, like Head and Shoulders, those are not really going to be suitable if you're going to be wearing synthetic dreads in an install, or natural dreads really for that matter. Any kind of shampoo that's appropriate for natural dreads is going to be fine for synths, but you can also, for most types of shampoo, herbal essences and things like that are usually pretty free of residue. What you're going to want to do is add a little water, water down the shampoo. You're going to want to apply it only to the scalp and not to the extensions themselves, and really focus on the lather and getting your scalp clean and rinsing that separate from the dreads. And as long as they are kept upright, right, you don't want to kind of wad them up or put them in a towel. As long as they're upright, the natural quality of the Kanekalon fiber is antimicrobial and water wicking. So it will very quickly send the water down through. So even if you go swimming, or whether it's in a pool or in the ocean, you do want to be very careful with chlorine, with letting that sit on your scalp or letting that kind of accumulate. You want to make sure you're rinsing very thoroughly with clean water after you're swimming in a pool. It's not so much of a concern for ocean swimming, but it still can be somewhat irritating. But, keeping in mind that anytime you're wearing extensions, they're going to be potentially holding water and holding things close to your scalp and adding weight. So you want to be a little bit mindful about making sure you're clearing all of that out. So, more on the production and business side of things, of course. I am a supplier. I don't do the installs, so I spend all of my time making the dreads custom. I do some amount of stocking these days, and I'll go over in a minute what kind of options we typically have in stock ready to ship. But this year, the vast majority of what I do has been just fulfilling the custom orders as I kind of shift focus on growing my baby business there on the side. But I do for, the best-selling things to make sure that I am providing the most convenient shopping experience for my customers and having things on hand that they might need in quick order, especially if there's a big event coming up like Burning Man or Electric Forest or something like that. I try to make sure that the basics are in stock, but you can custom order any of the things at any time, and the turnaround time is quite quick compared to other, it's pretty quick compared to other suppliers. And if there is a time concern or a consideration you need me to know about, just shoot me a message. I'm pretty workable with any sort of rushes or weddings or, things that are coming up quickly. On the whole, it is much better to wait to make your install appointment if you're getting help from a stylist until you have at least placed the order and get the time frame figured out. But I'm pretty workable if something comes up. We do have rush order upgrade available if you need to rush that production. There would be additional cost, but I set some slots aside in case there is an emergency and people need something on short notice. The average wait time for something under a full set, a half set and below, is usually about a week, and full set is usually about 2 weeks. But this varies with the season, and it just depends what's going on. But you're not necessarily going to be sitting there for months on end, never hearing from me, and never, I've heard some horror stories about other suppliers where the poor customer is left wondering where the heck their item is. That doesn't happen with me. It is usually quite quick. But, please be patient. It should give you a ETA from Etsy when you go through the checkout. If you didn't contact me at all to get an ETA, it'll give you one by default that kind of factors in what the current order volume is. So for questions involving color, I'm very happy to help with any sort of color matching. Be ready to send me some reference photos for if you're trying to match your existing hair color or you have a target look that you're hoping to achieve. Just send me whatever photos that you have, and I will do my very best to get an accurate color match for you. Please note, monitors do vary, individual perception varies, so if you really need to be a tight color match, the very best thing to do is order a sample, order a small quantity of dreads in the color that you're hoping for, or I do have swatches. Please note that the swatch samples, it's not the most efficient cost-wise to do it that way, simply because of the shipping cost. So if you're going to bother to ship something, you might as well order like a braid or a dread so you can see the color and then have something you could potentially use afterwards. But I do the swatches if you want to just load up a bunch of those to compare. As long as it's all within the same order, of course, it's sharing one shipping fee, so it's not so bad if you're getting a bunch of them. But if you're just going to get one swatch, I would say go ahead and just get a braid. They're only a couple bucks, and then you have something at the end of it to show for it. So if you're trying to get an idea of how a particular style is going to look when installed, thankfully, you know, Etsy and its continued evolution does a much better job now of linking photos to their actual listings and separating out reviews based on where they were purchased from, you know, what listing that coordinates to, and, you know, giving individual star ratings for shipping versus product quality. They've done a much better job in really delineating that, and there's even videos now that you can link to reviews. What a time to be alive, right? But if you want just a big chunk database of photos, you can head over to our Facebook, DreadNaughty, and we have a customer photo folder there, and I do post them periodically on the Instagram. You'll have to scroll a bit, but they are there for you to compare to, and you can shoot me a link to one of those if you have specific questions about, you know, wanting to achieve the look that they had. So let's talk about colors. On the website there is a full labeled and ordered list of available colors. I try to keep that as up to date as possible, but every once in a while I'll make something new, and that'll show up usually on the Instagram first. I have also completely updated the Pinterest with the labeled colors so that you can create an idea board and keep track of them that way if you're planning a future look. Hopefully that's pretty convenient. I don't know, I don't use Pinterest a lot, but I thought it would be kind of a fun addition. So basically the three different kinds of colors, primarily for the synthetic hair, I use a low heat Kanekalon. This is the most realistic looking, that is a similar thickness to a real hair follicle. It's a little bit more towards the floofy or frizzy side, I guess you'd say, compared to the high heat Kanekalon, which is very heavy and dense and smooth. I don't like to use that fiber myself. You'll see a lot of nice sets that are like the pre-dyed ombres that are this high heat material. I've gotten a lot of complaints of people saying that feels very heavy and itchy, and so it's not my personal preference. So like, you're never gonna have to worry about that being mixed in with any of these available colors. Whatever you're seeing on the website is all of the same type, and even the ombres, and I'll get into that in a second. But basically there's the standard colors, there's the blends, which are custom blends that I have devised that are a mix of the different colors, and then special order, which has to be procured online. Of course, the availability for those is going to be much more varied. I don't necessarily keep as much of that on hand, depending on which one it is. If it's like a lavender or light pink or something like that, that's very common and mixed in a lot of different things, I'll typically have enough on hand, say for a full set at a spur of the moment notice. But if you're looking for something a little weirder, then you need to shoot me a message and give me a heads up, like, hey, you know, do you have this? Is this going to be doable? So I can check the availability, because that's been really volatile this year, pretty much since COVID. There's a lot of colors that are discontinued, not available anymore, hard to get. It's just been a lot more difficult. Even very basic things like white. We don't have pure white available anymore. I have not been able to find it anywhere. Very strange, right? But that's kind of knocked out a lot of our old tie-dye series that kind of needed a nice bright background. The silver is very comparable. It's basically just a cool white, and that looks really great in a lot of things. So it's not like that's just completely off the table, but not in its previous form that you might have seen from us. Silver is now a special order color, unfortunately, because it just hasn't been around. So even things that seem like they should be pretty normal have been a little bit testy. So never hurts to shoot a message just to make sure. But there are separate listings for things that are like an upgrade or a special order. They have different lead times to take into consideration how long it takes me to get the material and all of that. So I've tried to be as thorough as possible with the Etsy shop to kind of delineate the different shop sections and make it pretty user-friendly and hopefully easy to navigate. But I know it's, despite our best efforts, not intuitive necessarily, so please don't hesitate to ask if you have a question. I'd be happy to help steer you in the right direction. So I will show you, I guess, some of the sets that I have on hand to kind of give an idea of what colors I've got going on right now. Very popular this year has just been rainbows of all types and varieties. This one's kind of a bright, you know, not neon necessarily, but just bright, saturated. If you are interested in getting a smaller quantity, this is a full set. These are the ready to ship full sets that I've usually got ready to go in the most common colors. So even if you're in a pinch and you've got an appointment already made, I might just have a good match for you, actually. But if you're looking to do a rainbow specifically, there will be a bit of an upcharge for the individual pieces because it's harder for me to keep little bits and drabs of a bunch of weird colors around. But just let me know how many you want total and how many different rainbow tones and whether you're wanting more of like a pastel or like a neon, and I can probably come up with something on the fly without having to do a full special order upcharge, including, you know, the reordering of the new material. I might have, you know, a little bit on hand if you only need a couple of each color. So that's the rainbow. This one's kind of like an ice and fire. I liked the contrast. I always thought that orange and blue was kind of the funnest contrast. I'm not so big on yellow and purple, but orange and blue is pretty fun, right? And we always have a nice natural, this is a natural red. We've got blonde always on hand, ready to go. A little bit weirder one is this nice dark violet. The multi-tone sets that they've got, usually when it's the Sharpie Thick, we got 5 different colors of different related tones in a family. This one is the shades of gray. Very, very common. It looks really nice when you have like a balayage or like a layered kind of effect and get some of that light color highlight pop and then put the dark underneath. Looks right. Any of these, we had a whole slew of them that I would usually keep in stock. How it's kind of worked out now is it's easier and people seem to like it better that they can mix and match. So I've been keeping the components of this sold in sets of 8 in stock, kind of separate, and so you can mix and match from those to get a full set together, and I haven't been keeping them as one thing quite like this as much, but all of those options are still available in a separate custom order section that's like I think it's called like multi-tone sets or something like that. It's got its own section if you want to pick from those classic combinations that I've got of the related colors in custom order. That makes it really easy. Did some pastels. I love this. It's so dreamy. This is like a lavender and a light pink, kind of unicorn colors. I've also, due to their popularity, been keeping more of the combination sets in stock ready to ship. These are half dread, half braid, double-ended, and they're extremely convenient because you can just braid down the dreaded half without having to braid down the braid part, so you're not doubling up a braid, if that makes sense. People have found this a lot easier to install. It looks very sleek. These come extra long, which is like 24 to 30 inches by default. All of these other in-stock sets that I'm showing are double-ended default and the Sharpie Thick and regular long, somewhere more like 18 to 22 inches or so. And because Kanekalon is a thermoplastic, every color behaves a little bit differently and there will be some variation. I think it makes everything look a lot more natural, but if there's a really specific length that you need it to be, that might not be achievable down to the inch. You know, please be prepared for a little bit of variation depending on how the color behaves. Nice cool tone. I love this. This has been pretty popular too. We sold a couple over the summer. It's a great summer color. This is the mermaid blend. These streaky style ones, they look really great because you can pick your root color, your base color, and then kind of have the different pop colors streaked in. And I think it's just a really pretty tie-dye unique look. Mermaid is like aqua with a pink, and then we've got nymph, which is like lavender and a mint, and genie, which is a sky blue with an amber. Really, really pretty. But this one's ready to go. And this one I just love. This is an indigo purpley blue with the walnut base, and walnut's been really popular for a nice. This has replaced our medium brown color because I'm not really able to find it very regularly anymore. So walnut is actually medium brown as a result of mixing light brown with dark brown. So really versatile tone, seems to work for a lot of people. Beware if you have reddish hair at all, it will be a little too brassy, so you're going to want to go with chocolate. Now chocolate is what used to be called brown blend, and I have consolidated the names to try to prevent confusion. Chocolate used to be number 8 brown, but the one that we have now, brown blend aka chocolate, is a dark brown with auburn, and it's a very rich color. It's got a little bit of variegation to it compared to the old solid dark brown, but they're basically interchangeable. They look identical in tone. So, and then as for decorated sets, we really don't do that very much anymore because they tend to sit in stock for a long time, and there just hasn't been as much demand, and I haven't really figured out a good way to offer the customization option either, as far as like having me install the wraps and beads for you. We have some bead kits still in stock that are nicely coordinated in different themes, and you know, if you shoot me as a message, I'd be happy to put those on for you, but on the whole it's just been a little convoluted how to really keep track of that and charge for it, so I don't keep as many of these ready to go in stock. But of course, always got to have a Halloween set every year. It's tradition. So this one's ready to go, a little after that point now, but maybe get it for yourself for Christmas, and then you'll have it for Halloween next year. And this one, which I thought was super cute, but it's been kind of here for a while at this point. This is a Rapunzel themed one that's got the braid mix in it in those nice gold and purple tones with lots of pretty beads for any Disney princess out there. So as I mentioned, the focus with stock has very much been to have more small quantities available and focus on modular options and mix and match. And on the whole, all the stock is in 2 different formats. I've got the Sharpie Thick Long, that is double-ended format, and then the pencil thin 20 packs that have always been very popular are the single-ended and also long in length. So the length is interchangeable between the stock options, but on the whole, people seem to prefer the Sharpie Thick to be double-ended. So in response to that, I've been kind of keeping it simple and trying to offer the widest possible variety while sticking to what people tend to want. Now, you're always welcome to custom order either of the formats in the opposite thickness. So this is what that ends up looking like. This is a 8-pack of the double-ended Sharpie Thick, and as I mentioned, 5 of these makes a full set. So if you want to mix and match a variety of tones to make your ideal set, that's a great way to do it. But the total usually for that, without a special order or upcharge or a blend, is going to be the $250 for a full set, and up on from there. I haven't been mentioning prices enough. The Viking style set, the extra long that I showed before, starts at $275. So that's kind of the range that you're going to be looking at now. That's as high as it's going to go this year. I'm not increasing prices. That's factoring in all of the inflation and the material increase. The material prices have gone up significantly in really the past year. It kind of stayed steady right there after COVID, but as I said, availability has been weird, and also the price has been significantly increased, but I try to do my best to keep as many of the standard issue colors, the ones that I can get locally and I can try to save on with bulk quantities and all of that, to pass those savings on to you. So an 8-pack is going to be $50, whether for the 8-pack of the Sharpie Thick, and for the 20-pack of the pencil thin, also $50. So these are, you know, pretty interchangeable. These represent the same amount of material and the same amount of time, roughly, of labor. So let's just keep it simple, and that includes shipping. Shipping is free for $35 and above. And then I've also been, especially with weird colors, most of these pencil thin ones will be offered as a set of 10 instead for special order or blended colors, since those are usually more of an accent or more of a pop. And even the regular colors, I've been trying to stock in sets of 10 to give you the most flexibility possible. So that's what those are going to look like. This is a nice ginger color, and this is the chocolate that I mentioned ad nauseum earlier, which is a blended color but is interchangeable with the solid chocolate. And then here's what if you want to think of basically what a quantity is going to look like in thickness. This is 10, this is 20, so that's what you're looking at for coverage. Typically for the pencil thin, the standard 80 ends for a full set is going to be enough, but some people do prefer a much fuller looking install, so it is very common to get 100 of the pencil thin, and what people will often do is they'll get a full set of the 80 in their chosen base color, and then go for an accent kit or go for a pop color in an additional 10 or 20 pieces. So I try to make that as easy as possible, and as I was reminded by a lovely lady last night who preferred a phone call, I am available for phone calls if you need help with a consultation. I know that's not really everybody's speed for contact, and I try to keep things as like automated and contact free, because especially, you know, now that we've had to become accustomed to such a strange new normal, right? Social energy can be really draining, and it's fatiguing sometimes to go through, and I don't want anybody to be intimidated having to ask difficult questions, and especially when it comes to custom ordering with this many variations. There's a million different ways to customize, so please don't be intimidated. I know it's a lot, but I'm here to help. You can always message me, and if you want to keep things as contact free as possible, you know, I try to make the site as streamlined and automated and self-serve for people that prefer that kind of interaction. I'm not going to be offended, but please note, if you did have some kind of special thing, you know, like a special shipping consideration, or a particular time you needed it for, or a particular use, and you didn't give me a heads up about it, it is a lot harder to come back later and try to clear it up. So I think even those look really nice together. These two together make a mocha color that is just one of my favorite. And so to introduce just the few kind of other things, it's kind of condensed lately. It's not that you couldn't get something really specific for a costume, it's just we haven't had too much demand for that, and I don't broadcast as much of that as I used to. I'm sure you saw all kinds of craziness in years past with, you know, all the wigs and braids and stuff that we did. A lot of our costumes these days kind of stick around the typical movies and shows that are out. Our bestseller right now is the Rapunzel. And please note, we don't do full wigs. This is not a full wig. When you see the listing, it is a attachment with little elastic here. It goes over a ponytail or a bun, and this is really great for a Rapunzel costume for a little girl, because a full wig is very sweaty and uncomfortable and itchy, and it's kind of nice to just have an attachment. This is the full size. This is more appropriate for an adult or for an older child. Probably under 6, you're going to want to go with the lightweight variety. This is 8 ounces of hair, half pound, So that's kind of a lot for wee one to be carrying around, so you might want to opt for the 1 inch. It's just a bit skinnier. It's still a big honkin' mess of hair. She's still going to look like Rapunzel, but her neck will thank you if you go for the smaller size. But we've got, this is the by far most popular color. This is the wheat or dirty blonde. A little bit golden, but kind of more ashy than golden, compared to the platinum blonde here, which would be not even really, this is more like Elsa's hair color. I don't think we have like the full-blown in your face gilded gold, because most people's hair doesn't tend to be that color, but if you were trying to be movie accurate, that's probably the one that you would go for. And then we also have all of the darker tones available so that you can match your natural hair and just get the effect. We love all different hair textures and tones, and I love to see the huge variety of Rapunzels that we get represented in the photo comments. I got a review a while back that was so cute. It was a little girl had a black braid ordered, and I think she was of Latina descent, and it was a birthday message, because on Etsy you can get a little note card. The design is very pretty now. It's got a cute little message, and you can customize and, you know, have your little card greeting. And it was like, you know, I know you like watching Rapunzel with your friend, and now you guys can match. Was something that I think an auntie had purchased for her. And I just thought that was the cutest gift ever. And this is pretty. We do also just sell the regular box braids, micro braids that you can customize the length on. These you cannot customize at all. These are just the in-stock ones of the pre-dyed ombres, but these are a fun little fun upgrade that you can stick in. Great for festivals or for just getting a really big visual impact. These are the fancy fishtails. They're quite puffy, you know, they're quite wide, and so you don't need very many of them. And we've got a lot of really pretty pre-dyed ombre colors. Now, you don't want to wear these in like a semi-permanent install with the rest of your dreads. You probably want to be able to take them out. So we do offer the clip upgrade, or if you're just sticking them in for a costume for a day, they do get snagged somewhat easily, so you have to be very careful how you store them, and, you know, not to crump them in with a bunch of stuff and Velcro and everything. But I did some just recently that I think I've sold. Yeah, these were them. I had ones with Viking beads and they sold out already, so I'm gonna have to redo some of those. But I think they're just so pretty. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate your interest in my business. Hopefully I covered a decent amount of ground here with the frequently asked questions, but if I missed something, please feel free to leave a question in the comments and I'd be happy to answer it personally. Or if you would prefer to remain anonymous, just shoot me a message there on Etsy. Please do not send any messages through Facebook or Instagram. The message system is really a nightmare, and it's a lot easier to keep track of file attachments, you know, photos, reference photos, and things like that, and be able to refer back to train of conversation. You know, I have people message me all the time out of the blue with an order that they started 6 years ago, and they're like, hey, do you still do this? It's like, yeah, of course, sure. Did you still want the red? Like, no, my hair is purple now. So please don't hesitate to get a paper trail going. Sometimes you'll get a nice coupon offer. A lot of that is automated through Etsy now. I used to, of course, do it manually and send coupons for favoriting or for liking the store and things like that. I don't really have a lot of control over that now. There isn't as easy a way to do it, but luckily some of that stuff is automated. So please, even if you're not ready to purchase now, I would advise you to go through and maybe highlight some of the things that you like that you might be interested in the future. So it really does pay off to spend some time going through Etsy and favoriting your favorite things from different independent artists like me. Because in addition to the automated coupons that you'll likely get, Etsy's also been doing some really cool loyalty things lately with incentives that they're just dishing out. They did one recently where they gave everybody $10 when they spent $50 on anything on Etsy. And that's just free money. And who wouldn't want free money in this economy? It's great. So get in there, drop some hearts. It's really worth it, I promise. I hope you have a great rest of the week, and if you wouldn't mind, if you could do me a kindness, if you have one extra moment, could you please check out my side shop, my baby business that I am cultivating with my partner, Studio Pandemonia. We are a purveyor of fine metaphysical goods. If you are into crystals at all, or if you're on the tarot side of things, that might be up your alley. We have a lot of really great gift offerings in that whole sphere of things. It's allowed me to explore a lot of other cool artistic mediums and develop a lot of my watercolor art style and digital art, as well as different handmade things besides fiber. I've got candles over there and herbalism and lots of cool things like that. So I will drop a link in the description. Thank you so much.